Hello, everybody. It's me, Martinez-Bateman. I am the CEO of New Coyote Consulting. We are an equity and communications consulting firm here in the Pacific Northwest. It is 100 degrees right now. The city of Portland is not used to this kind of heat. I know a lot of places are 100 degrees regularly. I grew up in LA. 100 degrees really didn't feel like that bad back then. But the city of Portland really can't handle these kind of high heats. Thankfully, it's only 100 degrees. We were really worried that it was going to get up to like 110, 115 again. People have lost their lives because it's been very, very hot day after day after day. It's supposed to cool down tomorrow, but that's what we're dealing with. Haven't really been able to go outside much. Haven't even felt like going outside much. To be honest, the heat just sort of drains all of my energy and makes me feel like a big old wet noodle. That being said, aside from this heat thing, I have actually been in really high spirits, really good energy. I know I've been talking about my health a lot lately. I had a really bad health thing in June, but I'm fully recovered. I'm back at the gym. I'm back at swimming. I'm just, feels so good. I feel really great right now. Decolonizing management is starting up soon. Registration closes on July 30th. I believe the last day of July is when registration closes. So if you're seeing this, please share about decolonizing management. Please tell people about decolonizing management. The only marketing engine we have for this course is me and y'all. And I'm super, super grateful for every person who shares and talks about it and tells their friends, because that's literally the only way that this course happens. So people who are learning how to be managers, who are entering into management, people who don't have an advanced degree, or if they do have an advanced degree, it's not in something like management, business, sociology, stuff like that. So those are the people who are the best for this course. Or if you've been in management a couple of years and you're just like, there has got to be a better fucking way, take my course. This is what we're for. That's what the course is for. So I have been thinking a lot now that I'm recovered. I've been thinking a lot about how sick I was in June and how bad it got at certain points. I was just really doing poorly. This is probably the worst I've felt in a lot of years. And I was really upset about it. And I also, at the same time, as I was processing this health thing, have been processing a lot of grief, specifically about my relationship with my dad. I went no contact with my dad a couple years ago. I'm not going to go into the details because that's not really what this channel is for, but I was really in a space of not abandoning myself, of standing up for myself, of, knowing my worth and my value, knowing what my time was worth. I'd left a really toxic job. I had, dropped off the receipts with the board of directors, and they made their own decisions after that about what to do about the leadership of that job. And I started this business, and I was just really standing more and more in my own power and knowing what I know, knowing how good I am at certain things, knowing what my plans were for the future and what I needed from my life to have those plans. Like this exact thing, this office, this job, you guys here, like, I knew that was where I was headed. And I wasn't entirely sure of how I was going to get there, but I just knew it. And I had a bunch of other important family plans and important life plans. And my dad was always someone who was just not available. Physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, whatever. And I had a conversation with him in good faith about that and about how involved he wanted to be in my life and my plans. And I told him, if you want to be involved in any real capacity, I'm going to need you to be showing up more. And if you're not showing up, I'm going to need you to not lie about what you are doing instead of showing up. And that was not okay with him. And so we decided that, okay, it seems like neither of us can give the other what they really need in this relationship, and therefore we're not gonna be hanging out anymore. And it was obviously super painful. It was a conversation that I had knowingly avoided for decades. And it really sucked. It really, really sucked. And also, it allowed me to be sad about the man my dad was and the choices that he made as a whole, rather than living in denial and then being sort of like hugely sad because he had once again done something that hurt my feelings, and then living in denial and then being hugely sad, right? Like I was always in this sort of pendulum swing of like ignoring my feelings and then, you know, feeling them really strongly and then ignoring them. And over the last several years, I've realized that just like carried over into my career really heavily. I ended up in situations where I made excuses for people, usually men, that I should not have made excuses for. I stood by and supported and enabled abusive and toxic leadership because I had already set a standard very, very low, very much below the bar of how I was supposed to be treated when I had, you know, when I maintained my relationship with my dad, right? Like it was okay if he wasn't reliable. It was okay if he was bad at money. It was okay if he was saying things that weren't true. And so then when I went out into the world and I found people who were similarly problematic, it had been normalized for me. That behavior had been normalized for me. And even though I knew in my big brain, you know, we talk about in sort of recovery work, we talk about the big brain and the hind brain, the adult mind and the child mind, right? I knew in my big brain that this was not okay behavior. But because my child mind, because my small brain, because my animal brain had accepted that kind of behavior over and over and over and over in this core relationship of my life, I did that at work, and I did that with jobs, and I did it with clients. And I was always just like, how come it doesn't seem like I can succeed? How come it doesn't seem like I'm, you know, everybody else is, well, first of all, comparison is the thief of joy, right? Everyone else is not out here doing it, right? We're all doing our work in the same way. Not to the same ends, but we're all working on it, right? That being said, I don't think this business would exist if I was still in contact with my father. I don't think that New Coyote would exist at all. Because there was no way that I was going to be able to stand in my power and advocate for my clients and do the work that needs to be done for them if I wasn't doing it for myself, right? And all this time that I was sick, I just had a lot of time to think about that. And it felt like I was getting rid of something with this illness. It felt like I was being I was going through a crucible with this thing. And I don't know if it's just that being sick for a month will make you feel super jazzed to not be sick anymore. I think that's a big part of it. But I really feel like I have had more energy in the last couple of weeks than I've had for years and years and years and years. And it's a different kind of energy. When I was in my 20s, I had this frenetic, anxious energy. And now I just sort of have a lot more of like a natural, calm, but strong energy in my body. And I don't know if that's going to stick around. I don't know if I'm going to get used to it. But it feels really good to be on the other side of this. And it feels really good to know that everyone in my life is there for a really good reason and is there because they want to be there. And we're all on the same team going forward together. And that is super important. All right. Have a lunch, have a walk, have a weekend. Don't work for free. I will see you next week.